Alright guys, I want to start the next part of 7.3, which deals with something called the multiplication counting principle. So I want to give you a little introduction to that. And we're going to start by doing something we already know how to do, which is make a tree diagram. So let's say that we're going on a vacation, and your mom, she's choosing from either business class or economy for the flights, and between a 3, 4, or 5-star hotel. And we want to see how many different vacation options we have with these stipulations. So if I make a little tree diagram, we're first choosing either, I'm going to use a B for business or E for economy. Those are the two flight options. So remember, we don't list like flight 1, flight 2, we list the options for each flight. And then let's say we choose the business class. We could choose a 3, 4, or 5-star. We'll use little stars. Those are our hotel options. If I go economy for the flight, I still have a choice of 3-star, 4-star, or 5-star for the hotel, giving you 6 different vacation options. You could do business class 3-star, business class 4-star, business class 5-star, economy 3-star, economy 4-star, economy 5-star. Now, let's add a layer to this. Let's say that each vacation package now has a theme. Maybe it deals with like the activities that you get to do. So adventure, sports, beaches, shopping, and sights. Those are your potential themes. And so we would be taking the tree diagram that we just made. This is just a horizontal version of what we just drew. And off of each of these stars, we're going to have our 5 different themes. Now, I didn't draw each of the 5 options off of each of the stars. You can imagine that it would get very crowded in here. And we'd have lots of options. But you can probably visualize it in your head what you would look like. You would have 5 more options off that star. You would have 5 more options off of this star. We already have it there. 5 more options here. 5 more options here. 5 more options here. And so we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 vacation options. But I'm hoping that you start to notice something. The number of options actually corresponds to something else. If you think about how many options you had for the business flight, there was 2 options here. For the stars, there were 3 options, and then for the theme, there were 5 options. It is not a coincidence that 2 times 3 times 5 is 30. That is actually utilizing the multiplication counting principle. And so that's going to be our goal, is to define and apply the multiplication counting principle. Sometimes you might see me abbreviate it MCP, just because I get tired of writing it. Okay, so here's what that principle says. If one event can happen M ways, and that's just a placeholder, and another event can happen N ways, the 2 events together occur M times N ways. So if you think about that last scenario as sort of 3 separate events. The first event was choosing a flight. So 2 ways. The second event was choosing a hotel. That can happen 3 ways. And the third event was choosing a theme. That's 5 ways. This is just an extension of what we just wrote. Here we happen to have 3 events, but it's the same thing. We just keep multiplying. We do 2 times 3 times 5, which gives us the 30 ways. There's going to be lots of instances where drawing a tree diagram like this, it's too big, it's too long, it's too cumbersome. So the multiplication counting principle can help you come up with that sample space that we know is so important to probability. So let's look at the next page, or the back page for you guys. I have another scenario. So you're buying a car. Maybe you got 2 styles to choose between, either something like this, a sedan or a hatchback. 5 colors to choose between. I know that these colors didn't show up on the copier, but 5 different colors there. And then there's 3 models, and you can see those 3 models. Now, if you take this information and you turn it into a tree diagram, you can see how many options there are, but you don't necessarily need to do that. You could just do 2 body styles. There's 2 options. 5 color styles, 5 options, and 3 models. So 2 times 5 times 3. That is, again, just by coincidence, 30 ways. Now, the multiplication counting principle is great. It doesn't mean that tree diagrams go out the window. It doesn't mean that tree diagrams are important. The nice advantage to a tree diagram is that you see each individual option. You can actually see, okay, I can have a sedan in this color with that body, or that model. You can see each individual option. Whereas when you're just using the multiplication counting principle, the 2 times 5 times 3, you don't actually visually see all your individual options. But you do get that sample space really quickly. So the disadvantages to a tree diagram, as you've probably already noticed, is that they can be too big, too time-consuming, or, yeah, we'll leave it at that. Too big and too time-consuming, sometimes. Alright guys, that gets you started on 7.3. I will see you tomorrow.